Brisendine, and today we are going to work on a little squatting action. Squatting is going to be going down. We did deadlifts before standing up, so now we're working on how we sit down. And think of it too, like, just like the deadlift. Chris gave us that great analogy last time about how the deadlift's basically your first movement you ever do. When you exit mommy and you pop out, you're basically doing a deadlift. One of the other most common movements we do throughout the day is sitting, right? We all stand up, sit down in the car. We stand up and sit down when we get out of bed. We stand up and sit down when we go to the bathroom. We stand up and sit down when we're at work. We probably stand up and sit down more throughout the day than just about anything else we do. So it behooves us to learn how to do a proper squat. Chris is going to help us out.
Squatting has been my favorite exercise since I was first introduced into a weight room, over 20 years ago. This could arguably be between the deadlift, the best total body movement that you can do for building muscle mass, and absolutely the best movement that you can do on a fat loss program. If you're not squatting at all, you're doing yourself a disservice. Okay, so we're going to try to squat down in many parts. I'm not going to do the 1, 2, 3 thing because I get myself confused when I jump to like 8, 9, and 17.
Keep it simple.
So instead what we're going to do is I'm just going to have Jesse show you what a squat, this squat looks like now, what I see, how I would change things as a strength coach to put him in a better position to not injure himself with his back, to save his knees, because people say that their knees hurt when they squat. Well, I say your knees hurt because you don't know how to squat properly. Okay? So go ahead, and I want you just to cross your arms over your chest and keep your elbows up. Just sit down to the box 3 times for me and then stand straight up. Good. Okay. Right away, the first thing I notice about Jesse's squat technique, and this is one thing that I notice a lot with newbies, I'm not saying that you're a beginner, but I notice it a lot, is on your very first movement, as you came down, your heels came off the floor. If you're not squatting through your heels, that means your weight's pitching forward, and the minute you go to put anything on your back, you're going to fall forward. Okay, so that's a dangerous position. So what we want to do is make sure that when we squat, you sit back on your heels. One thing that I always tell my clients that I like, one little trick that I like to have them do, is lift their big toe up. And keep your big toe elevated the entire time that you do the squat. Now, once you start getting into heavier loads, you're going to need your toe for grip. But as you're learning to squat, good thing to remember is to keep that big toe elevated, and that automatically is going to shift your weight all the way back.
Oh yeah, it makes a big difference.
Okay? To piggyback off the big toe, I don't know if you saw it on those two compared to your first ones, but with your weight shifted back, all of a sudden now your first motion became with your hips, not with your knees. So one thing that you see a lot of people do this wrong on purpose. When they squat, they're going to squat with their knees, and they're going to let their knees travel way out over their toes. Bad. Okay? That's why people have messed up knees because of squatting, because they're putting so much shear stress on the knee right there that's unnecessary when you're doing a squat.
You can see just how vulnerable I am in this position. If you get bumped or anything like this, your knee's completely exposed, so it's the only thing that's going to take a force.
Bad news. So if we start straight up again, lift your big toe. The second thing that you're going to want to work on with the squat is your first motion should be backwards with your hips. Okay? So clear your hips out of the way first and then sit all the way down. Bam. Okay? There we go. Stand all the way. Do 2 more. Okay? Now by Jesse putting his hips back and raising his big toe, now all of a sudden, look at, he's not pivoting forward as much. Keep on going. Let's keep on going. Let's keep talking about this. Okay, by clearing with the hips, he's not bending as far forward. All the weight's not on the front of his legs. Everything is on the back. Okay? Now all of a sudden, he's squatting with his entire lower body. He's using his quads. He's using his hamstrings. He's using his glutes. Everything that you want to build a nice big squat, he's using right now. Everything that you use on a daily basis to go to the bathroom, to get in and out of your car. Go ahead and make this your last one. Everything is being worked right there. So just, it's a quick and simple little fix. If you feel your heels come up, raise your big toe. Clear with your back hips. Okay, get your hips out of the way and make sure that your knees don't travel anywhere. Okay, by doing those things, you don't really have to be too concerned about what's going on with your upper body, because that's just going to naturally balance itself out.
I can feel just that little difference. I can feel like my heart's beating pretty fast, and then I do maybe 8 reps, 8 times, and you get your heart rate up that much. So going back to what Chris said at the beginning about how important a squat is for building muscle, losing weight, getting your training, whatever it is you do, doing a functional squat, it's muscles, great for your cardiovascular strength. I mean, my heart rate got it's the same heart rate I have if I went for a jog. So doing strength training, people a lot of times will say, strength training is not going to do the job like cardio does. Strength training can be cardio if you're doing it properly. That was a great adjustment too, but as soon as I brought my big toe up, I could feel myself wanting to sit back a lot more and just letting my weight travel back. So for you guys who are doing this, again, the squat's another exercise too that's portable, like a push-up. You can do a squat anywhere.
Yep.
If you're sitting in the airport, you guys all know I travel a lot, and there's a lot of times where I'll find a corner in the airport and do some squats, do some push-ups, do some sit-ups and stuff just in between, and it gives you that portability with exercise, so you can go anywhere and do it. And then people who have lower back problems or sitting a lot at work and stuff, learning how to stand up properly and not put that extra load on your back is going to save your back.
Yeah, speaking of backs, the one more important thing that I want to cover real quick is upper back when it comes to squatting. If you go ahead and stand up, Jesse. A lot of people, what they do when they squat is they want to round their shoulders, okay? Look at how Jesse did that. He rounded his shoulders. What happened? His head went down. If you go to squat, and sit down and squat, okay? Look at now. Everything is pulling him down forward. If we make one little adjustment, Jesse, I want you to pinch my fingers with your shoulder blades. Look at what just happened with this torso. That's just a natural thing to do. Now go ahead and stand straight up. Bam. Keep this pinch right here the whole time. Go ahead and squat. Look at the body position from his waist up to his shoulders. Okay? Now all of a sudden he's in a much better position with his back just by keeping his shoulders pinched. Okay? It's about total body tightness. We talked about it on the deadlift. We've talked about it with the push-ups. We'll talk about it when we get to the bench press. Creating total body tightness throughout the whole way through, you're going to put yourself in a safer position. Now, speaking of traveling, if people want to know how do I make a squat more progressive while I'm traveling, a really good one that I learned from Craig Ballantyne, turbulencetraining.com, what you want to do is what are called prisoner squats, okay? So you want to bring your hands behind your head and actually interlock your fingers, okay? Interlock your fingers behind your head. Now go ahead and do a nice deep squat all the way down to the box. Okay? By bringing your hands up behind your head, you can't lose that tightness in your upper back. You have to stay tight. Your chest is going to stay in a more upright position. Okay? That makes it a little bit harder now, huh? Yep, that's another good one. Another one that you can do, arms straight over the head that I learned from Alan Cosgrove, AlanCosgrove.com. Okay? You want to go ahead and just squat. Try and keep your biceps back by your ears. Okay? Go ahead and come all the way down. Now, if you have some shoulder limitations, of course, this is going to change a little bit. Your arms are going to come forward, but shoulder mobility is a whole other video segment in and of itself. But that's another way to progress. That's another way to make the squat that much more of a challenge or progressive while you're traveling. Here, with the arms across the chest, bodybuilder style, prisoner style, touchdown style, however you want to do it. Simple little changes can make the squat a lot harder while you're traveling.